connected to the positive, to the negative, and we are at about 12 volts flat. Let's see how slow the car starts up. All right, cold start. Let's see how she starts up. Ooh, yeah, that was a hurt piece. Let's get started. Okay, put your trunk open. Turn this knob here. My fabric is a little bit off, so I just leave mine unlocked. Pull this to the side. Now we have access to our battery. Okay, I'm gonna actually go get the new battery. The hardest part about this is actually figuring out the group size. Unless you go get a BMW battery, they don't actually put the group size on here. When I come back with the new one, I'll show you guys how to find what group size the battery takes on these cars. Alright, let's get started. Let's remove this bracket here, which is held in with two 10 millimeters. Alright, that's out. That's out. And pull this up and out. There is a 13 millimeter hold down screw. You can see it down there. Let's get that out too. With some extensions, just turn it. Okay, and that's out. And that's what the hold down tray looks like. Right before we remove these terminals, I'm gonna put this car on a battery maintainer so that we don't lose all our presets. I don't have any codes or anything, so I'm gonna just keep all our stuff. So give me a second. Okay, there's a vent tube right here. I can get to it. It's coming out. Just gotta keep wobbling it, and it's out. That vent tube, I'll tell you what that does later, but you gotta pull that out. If that's out, let's remove the ground terminal first. Just gonna loosen this up. Notice I am wearing gloves. I don't want to arc anything. I don't want to shock myself. And when I pull this up, I'm actually going to put this in this rubber glove so that this ground won't spark or touch any or arc anything. I have it wrapped in the plastic rubber glove so that it doesn't arc anything, and it had just to block anything. Let us remove this next. You always remove your ground first, because if I was to go like this, and you see when I come down and I was to hit this body, I could get a spark or an arc. I could pop fuses and things like that. We don't want that trouble, so make sure you remove your ground before you attempt to remove your power. It's always the safest thing to do. You don't got to remove it, just loosen it up and then pull this bad boy up. Good. We're gonna kind of keep that to the side now, and we have our vacuum line out and our tray is out. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. This thing is heavy. Come on, baby. Whew. Okay. Just visually look in here and see if you see any damage. See any of that? So that's good to see. Now, if you see here, right, BMW does not like to actually give you a group size, which is really stupid and annoying. But if you see here, right, we need to match these numbers or be higher than this. But 900 cold cranking amps, we have to match these numbers. You see here, we have the 900 cold cranking amps, 1000 cranking amps, the 160 reserve capacity, or minutes. It could be minutes. I'm sorry. The 160 reserve capacity and the 95 amp hours, which is a little bit higher than this battery, which is at 90 amp hours. That's okay though. So now that we have that showing you, this is a H8 group size. You can do your measurements. You can simply take your battery with you or whatever you want, but this is a H8 battery for the F30. I'm gonna leave this ground terminal off. We're gonna pull this up. Now if you remember, our vent tube right here is on the positive side. So I'm gonna actually put this plug, take this off. I'm gonna plug this up. This is on the negative terminal side, okay? All right, good. Now, what does this vent tube do? Since this battery is in the passenger compartment, what can happen is when the chemical fumes come out, it can be toxic to humans or to people. So there's a vent tube that evacuates the chemical gases that be coming out of these batteries. So plug this side so nothing comes out over here, and then everything comes out over here. Okay, now let's drop this new battery in there. Okay, but like I said, remember, H8 is the battery size I found that fits my car. That's a way that you can find the battery size that fits your BMW. Okay, I'm gonna get this in and we can start putting our terminals on. And always make sure that your battery is within 6 months. All right, if you don't want to get a battery that's been sitting for over 6 months. It'll have reduced battery life. Okay, before we put this in, always just clean your terminals up, make sure there's nothing on them. It usually isn't, because these sit in a very protected area. No real grime or anything gets on these, but it's always still good to just hit them up, make sure everything's good. Now I do have the rubber on this ground terminal, so that's why I'm not concerned about it like touching the battery like that, because it won't arc or anything like that. That terminal protector right there, that helps keep corrosion away. We're going to get the positive on first. Notice I'm putting the positive on first, because if we put the positive on with the ground, we can get a big arc. We don't want that. And the only thing I'll say is don't I've never seen anybody do this before, but sometimes I guess some people actually will get a hammer and try to like tap this in. Do not do that. You could damage the battery itself. Give it a wiggle test. Remember, we don't have to destroy this. Yeah, that's tight. Give it the wiggle test. Nothing. All right. And that feels good. And that tray is back in its proper position. Now, I'm gonna put some protective covers on here. Strap off. This ground cover. Put that off. Don't want that to touch. Very careful. Get our protector here. Good. And now we might get a little shock. Be ready. It's a lot of electricity. There we go. And all the power just came on. I'm gonna make sure this is all the way down. Hold on. Being said, give it the shake test, and that thing ain't going nowhere. Last thing I like to do is get some battery protective spray, just like that. Nothing crazy. Almost forgot, put this vent tube back in. Jesus, how could I forget such an important step? And that's in. Yep, that's all the way in. And lastly, hit this with some spray as well. Nothing crazy. Notice I didn't say amount if you're going to use that, okay? Alright, before I put the case back on, if you thought you was done, you are sadly mistaken. This is a BMW. We need to do a reset procedure on this battery, okay? I could use my Foxwell tool to do this, but most people are more than likely going to have BimmerCode instead. So let's use BimmerCode and let's use my phone before I put this case back on. We are now plugged in. Let's jump into our phone. Let us connect. We are indeed using the VPAC OBD check blue. Good. Yes. I didn't mention, also make sure that your car is on the on position when you're doing this. Don't start the car, but put it in the on position. We are working on a 3 series. Alright, good. Now we are going to go down to front electric module. Okay, now that everything is processed, we are going to slide down to battery. Click on this right here. Now, we actually have more than 90. We have more than 90 amp hours. We actually have 95, but since there's no setting for it right now, we're just going to leave it right here, 90 AH AGM. Alright, we have the VPAC OBD. Let us connect with Bluetooth. Now that everything's coded with BimmerCode, we're going to transition to 12-volt battery. So we have the 90 amp hour battery. Battery stated charge is at 61%, and we're going to register the new battery. Different capacity or type. Let's see if I press different capacity or type. When installing a battery with higher or lower capacity, installing an AGM battery instead of a lead acid coating, a new battery BimmerCode is required before registering the BimmerCode. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let it say that it has the same capacity and type because there was not a 95 amp hour option. So I'm just going to put same capacity and type. The following procedures have to be met. The engine is off. The ignition position is on. The car is not running, but it's on. And we have no errors stored in the engine right now. When you put the new battery in, I did have to set the date and time. So I did that ahead of time so that there's no error codes on the check control module. So let's register it. Batteries were successfully registered. So I'm going to start the car up and we're going to check and make sure that our voltage is correct. Nice. Let us check the voltage and make sure everything is okay. That's because you're hearing the valve did it. No. Alright, now I'm actually looking, I'm connected directly to the battery, and we are, it's moving around a good amount, but we're right around 14.7 volts. I'll show you the voltage before I reset the battery. I just wanted to show what would happen if you don't do the battery reset and the voltage difference, okay? But with this all being said and done, we're all good to go here. Our voltage is where it needs to be. Now, I'm gonna kind of lean them like that. Put your battery in place. Lock it up. Thanks for watching, you guys. Till next time. Out.